Hello and welcome to another Tim Allen 1337 guide, where today I'll be talking about the basics and benefits of farming. This is one of the best uses of your contribution points, and it can provide so many good money-making opportunities. So I'm going to start with the basics on how to farm, get your fences, and then I'll move into what to farm, the byproducts, and finally how you can use all this stuff to make some money. First, the basics. In order to farm, you're going to need contribution points. If you need a lesson on that, I've made plenty of videos to show you how to handle the basics of contribution points. You might want to go back and check those videos out first before you go any further here. Before we talk about what to grow and how to make money, let's focus on fences, which is the item you need in order to create your farm. There's 3 different types: small, plain, and large. You can rent as many of these as you'd like, assuming you have the CP for it. Please note, this is just the size of your farm. It has no other effect on your crops. A small fence costs 3 CP and gives you 4 slots. A plain fence will cost 6 CP and give you 7 slots of farming, and a strong fence will cost 10 CP and give you 10 slots. So the larger you go on the fence, the less efficient the slots are in relationship to the cost of the CP. But eventually you're probably going to want to use all large fences, as the end game, the magical and the mysterious seeds, which we'll talk about later, take 5 slots each. But you can choose to play this however you'd like for now. Just please note, with a plain fence, it has 7 slots, and some normal crops take 2 slots each, so don't get caught out by that. It's my least favorite fence to rent. Now, to rent a fence, you have to go to specific NPCs in the game, and they will give you a fence in exchange for your available contribution points. A small fence comes from Abun, DS Farm, Costa Farm, and Fento Farms. Plain fences come from Finland and Tariff, Ganin Farm, Moretti Plantation, and Tuscany Farm. Lastly, the large fences come from the material vendors in Heidel, Calpheon, or Altanova. So I just happen to have enough contribution to purchase a new strong fence. So as you see, I'm spending my 10 available CP, going to the material vendor in Calpheon, and then I'm going to head back over to where I keep my farms to place it. Which brings us to our next step: where should you be placing your farms? This is a fairly complicated process, but it's widely accepted that anywhere near Velia and a couple places in Heidel are roughly the best spots for farming. You can definitely min-max your placements to get maximum crop yield, but you have to track weather and patterns within the game in order to do that. Farming really isn't meant to be an active process. This should be something you put very little time into and make as much money back as possible for the time that you invested. So for now, I recommend you just place your farms near Velia, and don't be worried about other people's farms and their placements. It's all instant, so you don't have to compete for spots. Placing a farm is very simple. Walk into an open grassy area that isn't in a safe zone, click the item from your inventory, find an available peg to place it, and your character will start installing it once you've selected it. Please keep in mind that farms will pick themselves up automatically if you haven't touched them in 7 days. They'll be placed in the closest major city storage, and any crops on it will be lost, so don't forget to check your farms. I suggest having a dedicated farming ult, but you can probably only do this if you have a Kama Blessing that provides additional energy per 3 minutes, especially when you're leveling up farming. Otherwise, you'll want to either use your main or have a other dedicated life skiller that comes out to your farms. If you decide not to have a dedicated ult for farming, you'll want to put those farms someplace near where that character you choose to use will be most often. Getting into farming takes some dedication. You'll want to prune your farms as much as you can stand it. As a goal, you'll want to focus on getting to Artisan 1 farming, but we'll talk about why later when we talk about the ranks of seeds. For now, just note that you don't gain XP for breeding or harvesting crops, only pruning. So now let's talk about what to grow. This is where it can get a little tricky and a little complicated. As you can see during this whole video, I've been tending to wheat plots, and there's a very simple reason for that. I want as many cooking crafts as possible when the contribution point byproducts come out for cooking. See my other contribution related videos if you don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm also getting mats for alchemy for these as well, and this plays a big part into what you're deciding to farm. I'm linking this website into the description and showing it to you right now because I've used it since the first day I've played BDO, and it'll help you guys decide what you'd like to grow into your farms. Fruits are extremely valuable, and the only way to control which fruit you get is by growing a specific crop in a farm and breeding them, only breeding them. You will not get fruits by harvesting. So once again, as I'm showing in the video, I've been growing wheat, but I've been self-supplying my own seeds. I'm not buying them every single time, which means I only harvest when I get a proc of extra special wheat seeds. So I'm getting a good amount of special wheat, but I'm also getting a good amount of the fruits of the sun. You can either farm items to make specific alchemy items like Fruit of the Sun and just never choose to harvest, or you can grow things that you need for cooking recipes like milk, onions, and garlic, and balance when you harvest and when you breed your plants. Let's get into seeds for a minute. To get started, you either buy them from the seed vendor in Calpheon next to the material vendor, or you can get them off the marketplace pending their availability, obviously. As the game progresses, it'll be increasingly easier to find the special or blue grade seeds on the marketplace, as people who farm only for alchemy mats will use the breed option exclusively, so they're going to have a ton of extra seeds, and they're going to place them on the marketplace to try to make some extra money off of them. One of the most important parts of breeding is understanding how the different qualities of seeds work. There's a couple different qualities here, and I'll list them. You have withered, normal, high quality, and special. Each time you breed a plant, it will give you one replacement seed for the product that you have breeded, but then it also has a chance of giving you up to 2 additional seeds of the same quality, or 1 additional seed of a higher quality. Quality is basically just concentration. For beer, it takes 5 normal wheat for a craft. Or you can use 2 to 3 high quality wheat, or you can just use 1 special wheat. All crops produce roughly the same amount of items, so if you're making special wheat, your output is 5 times what it would normally be if you're just growing regular wheat. Special or blue rank is currently the highest quality in the game. Later patches should provide us with additional drops from farming, assuming you're at least Artisan 1. Magical or yellow rank seeds will take up 5 spots, but give you extra fruit and byproduct drops to compensate. This is a huge time saver. It will also harvest considerably more blue grade items to compensate for the amount of plots it takes. Massive, massive time saver, and definitely something you want to start working towards now. We should also be getting something called Mysterious Seeds, which will also take 5 spots and drop when you get Artisan 1. The real benefit with these is instead of getting 1 or 2 fruits when you breed something, you will be guaranteed at least 3 and up to 4 fruits when you breed it. Make sure you save these for when you really need them and you're trying to make a push on a specific elixir to react to the market. Last tip before I wrap up this video, make sure you hold down left trigger when you're standing on your farm to bring up the menu to allow you to place your seeds. Not super obvious, took me a minute to find out. Thanks for watching, and I hope this makes you feel more comfortable about getting starting with farming. This should give you the resources you need to be successful and increase your passive income. As always, I'm very responsive to questions and comments, and I appreciate the support for these guides I've been making. New Classes was just announced to launch April 3rd, so I'm sure I'm going to take some time to dive into my thoughts on those classes. Smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.